Hey, how are you tonight? I have one of my favorite hats on because you know what? One of my favorite things to do is to hike. And I think one of the reasons I love to hike is that if you go on a trail, you never know. Well, I mean, you kind of have an idea, but you never truly know what the view is going to be at different parts of the trail. And that's what I think is so cool about hiking. You just go out there in nature and you walk, and it's such a cool journey because as the sunlight changes, as the shade and the sun hits the trees and the mountains or the woods that you're in, everything looks so different. And I just love that experience. I love to hike, whether it's, on a trail through the woods or up the mountain or whatever. And I've hiked in some really cool places like New Zealand and Oregon and New Hampshire and Maine and different places. And, it's always a really interesting experience because you don't know what you're going to experience. And I think in a way, that's kind of how life is. You just go out there and you do the best you can, and you have no idea what the experience is going to be from moment to moment. And anyway, so that was all I had to say. But now I'm going to start reading my book. I've got a new chapter today, Champa Lei. So I'm on page 75. Here we go. Group orgasmic sighs release from the few of us that follow along with Kelly. Her natural beauty, blonde, short ponytail, and eyes that come to a tiny slit when she flashes her wide, perfect, orthodontic, straight smile makes her appear that she is not a tough girl. But her classes are, in fact, very grueling. Return to this place in downward dog. Breathe in and breathe out with a sigh. God, that southern accent is so annoying. She sounds so backwoods. How the hell did some country girl end up teaching yoga? Lift your right leg up, bend your knee, and reach for your neighbor while opening up the hip. She sighs again while my arms quake to hold up my body in what seems like the 50th downward dog. Kelly says, as if she enjoys this, but I'm irritated. I would enjoy this too if I was the one telling us what to do and not in the pain that I'm in. Now square the hip and step your right foot to your left hand for half pigeon to the front of the mat. Set it up with a block under your hip. Lead with your heart and with grace as you bow forward. As graceful as I can be, I lean forward to bow to see the beads of sweat clinging to my chest. My forehead hits the floor while my palms come together, reaching forward to connect with my spirit and quiet the mind through my breath. Come into pigeon with a choice to cling to the discomfort or choose to let go and cling to your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. You can hold on to all that gunk or let it go, Kelly continues. My bow is going deeper and my mat is pressing on my third eye. I imagine the sound of fluttering wings. I am transported to 8 years old. Gazing back from the front seat of our baby blue Galaxy 500 sedan, I see the dirty and rusty old bird cage in the back seat with the pigeon in it, poking its beak through the metal slats and fluttering its wings. I don't like birds. They are all chickens to me, just waiting to peck holes in my hand. Mama D kept homing pigeons in a cage by the barn. She loved the idea of having 2 of them, a male and female. She took them out every day so they could fly, but they never left. She wove a love story about the two of them that seemed ideal. They have only one mate all their lives. The two of them live happily ever after, like Cinderella and the prince. I fantasized about them having their own little castle. I find pigeons to be so interesting. Did you know that they always find their way back home? Really? I pretend to be interested. Yes, they were important in the world wars for delivering messages. They are really smart. How do they do that? I ask. I'm not sure, but they always go back to their home. You know, Pushpa, we are giving this pigeon to the goodlings. She is a homing pigeon, and she may come back. I turn to look back at the pigeon and feel sad to know it is being separated from its lifelong mate. I wasn't going to miss the pigeon, but she was being separated from her friend. That is sad to me. She will like their barn just like our barn, Mama D says joyfully, and the goodlings will take good care of her. Mama D gets lost in her thoughts. You know, Pushpa, my Indian friends told me that in India they believe that if they feed the pigeons, they will never go hungry in their next life. Maybe I didn't feed the pigeons in my last life, I think to myself as I gaze out the window. My mom used to say some of the weirdest stuff to me, and she had no real explanations behind things sometimes. So I was left to kind of just think about it on my own. And, you know, I just really didn't understand her, and I didn't get why she was so into these pigeons. She was very enamored by these pigeons. And so she weaved these stories about them and how, you know, all about how they were mates for life. And then this little story about, you know, how, you know, her Indian friends at University of Oregon told her that she, you know, that the whole story about, you know, if you feed the pigeons, you won't come back and be starving in your next life. And, you know, as a little child, I really took that to heart. And I thought to myself, wow, I guess I really didn't do that in my last life. You know, it's funny how as a kid, you take things to heart that adults say. And as an adult, even though you were like that as a child, you forget that you're just so open to what anyone tells you as a child. You know, you just absorb what they say. And I truly just believed her. And I really spent time thinking about, wow, I guess in my past life, I didn't feed the pigeons because I was starving as a kid. Whether that's true or not, nobody knows, you know. But I just thought it was so interesting that, you know, here I am decades later remembering that she said this to me and what an impact it made on me and how I felt about myself, thinking, wow, I must not have been a nice person in my past life. I didn't feed the pigeons, so that's why I was starving as a child. Which seems so illogical or whatever, made up. But, you know, to a kid that doesn't know anything and that is listening to adults to gain information about life, it's funny how it's a fact and you believe it. So anyway, there were a lot of things my mom said that were like that I just tended to believe, and it took me a long time to kind of let it go and not allow that to, you know, things to run my life. But so anyway, so I hope you're having a good day, and I had a great weekend with some friends and just spent time with special people in my life. And I hope you get to spend some time, even if it's only 10 minutes, with someone who's special in your life. It just changes everything for you. There's something in your soul that needs that, in your spirit that needs to be with people that you have a deep connection with and that you feel some sort of love and bond with. And it's amazing the power of that and how good you feel afterwards. So I'm kind of flying high, even though I haven't had a lot of sleep, and I walked for miles at Disney, and I drove for hours and hours, and some of it was crazy. Just spending time with people you really care about and you love and that are close to your heart really fills your soul and gives you energy for life. So I hope that you will be able to also experience that even for a few minutes. And that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you're catching up on past videos on YouTube, and if you're not, you might want to. And thank you again.